Good evening, everybody. It's evening viewing. There's a fly in the car. Going to get my hair cut, then we're going to CEX. It's been over a month since possibly both, maybe. Maybe not quite a month since CEX, but it isn't far off. I've not been very frequently recently. So maybe there'll be some new stuff in Stafford CEX. But I need to get a move on because God knows what the traffic's going to be like because the traffic's always abysmal. So let's go.
There's something in the water in Stafford. People are getting dumber because just now I just watched somebody go the wrong way around the roundabout, and it didn't clock in my head what had happened until after it had happened. I was like, hang on, there's something very uncanny valley there, because you know how you sort of you semi-unconscious while you're driving a road that you've driven a million times. I was like, what? You can't go that way. And then the car behind me noticed too, and I was like, oh my god, wasn't a learner. Probably a good thing. I don't know, is it worse if it was a learner? I mean, learners can learn from their mistakes. If you pass your driving test and you're driving like that, it's probably a little bit too late for you and whoever you're going to hit. But 8 minutes till my haircut. Should make it. It's bloody cold. Can't wait for it to be warmer. When it's warmer, I'll start travelling to different CEXs again. Right then, into CEX we go after I got shouted at by a crackhead about half an hour ago. Walked past that same crackhead just now, and of course he said nothing. So Stafford CEX seems to have finally had a little bit of a restock versus the last time I was in here. There's finally more stuff facing sideways. Granted, still a lot of stuff facing forwards. I don't remember the last time I saw this CEX where it was like genuinely full. And this is something PS5 do all the time. Those slipcovers that look almost 3D. Typically you see those on things that are steelbooks, and then they almost never are. Ooh, did I miss something there? Something I'm keeping an eye out for, granted I'm not going to buy it from CEX anytime soon because it's brand new and probably too expensive, is the Tomb Raider 4 to 6 remasters. Getting those from CEX right now would definitely be a mistake because a lot of people talk about how CEX is overpriced. A lot of people take offense to CEX selling new stuff for basically the same price as they are brand new. Don't buy brand new stuff from CEX. Like CEX, what CEX is good for or best for is systems for games that you cannot get anywhere else. PS4, 360, PS3, and further back than that, you can't really get those games in any other way that's reliable outside of just hoping that some individual private seller on eBay, Vinted, etc. is showing them. There's nowhere that you can go and just browse PS2 games or browse PS3 games or browse PS4 games these days, really. PS5 is kind of difficult to go and browse. Like, I can't think of many places. Although, check this out. We got a Resident Evil 4 steelbook, which is weird because this CEX typically does put that specific steelbook behind the glass. There have been like duplicates of them before. Onimusha 2 and Onimusha 1 on the shelf, which I thought was interesting because last year when I was collecting those, it took a bit to get them. Just looking at the Platinum Ratchet and Clanks there as well. Still on the lookout for a Ratchet and Clank 3 that is a non-Platinum version. I could definitely get it via like going and buying it from eBay or something like that, but that takes away half the fun of hoping to find it in a CEX, especially at this point where realistically there's not that much stuff that I'm after. Like somebody asked me what am I actually after, and to be honest I don't know. I've got every game that I want. I bought a lot of stuff in the last year. I've spent over $7,000 at CEX in the last 12 months, and that'll usually get you pretty much anything you want at that point. Also, there was this one. There's something wrong with Stafford today. I said it before I walked in, but there was just another fella that was wandering around just going mental. And I'm like, why? Usually he doesn't last. Like, usually he's in here for like 60 seconds, but he was in here the solid 10, 15 minutes that I was when I was filming today. My will to live, it's receding. It's already in the bin, but yeah, Platinum back there at 95 quid. Won't be long till that's £100. But yeah. Okay, so I'm home and I did get a few things from CEX, so I'll show you what those are shortly. But first of all, it's 5 p.m. and I want some breakfast.
Hello, big chicken. Hi, darling. What's all this mess?
Stafford was just... I don't know what's going on in Stafford today. There's something in the water. Did you see what I said about somebody going around the roundabout?
Way on the roundabout?
Yeah. And then...
When you say that roundabout, is it the little one as if we go into your mum's?
No. You know the lane that we would use as if we're going to go up past Aldi, the dual lane, Queen's Way? We'd be in the middle lane of the three.
Coming from where?
from Curry's way.
From Curry's going around the roundabout past Aldi. Yeah, and it's quite narrow and they've got 3 lanes. Right lane is to Tesco, straight on is Cinema and Aldi, left is to the prison. Yeah.
Maybe. There's 3 lanes. Either way, that third lane that would go back round to Tesco and Sainsbury's,
Yeah.
a car came towards me in it and up it. Yeah. And then some crackhead on a bike moaned at me for being in his way when I was on a footpath. And then there was another one. Then there was another one in CEX that just would not go away.
Like wouldn't leave you alone.
He just wouldn't leave anybody alone. He was walking around waving his arms.
So it wasn't because your internet sensation.
No, it was an actual smackhead. Stafford, something in the water. Breakfast: a bowl of cereal with 40 grams of protein. Ruby, stop your wittering. You can go sit in the sunbeams in a minute. There aren't any, I don't think. But yeah, 40 grams of protein for an easy bowl of cereal, just by using a cookie and cream whey instead of regular flavoured milk. Ruby Roo, what are you doing? Have you buried your ball? Is your ball under there? Is this your ball? Have you buried your ball? Are you trying to get it out? See, I saved you. Like a burrito. Ruby, you're going to fall off. Careful. I got your ball. What a shot. I suppose I need to show what I got from CEX. I didn't get much. I still need to check if one was a duplicate because somebody didn't reply while I was out. Let's hope it's not a duplicate. So, from CEX earlier on, I got Austin Powers 1. Interestingly, right, there is a trilogy box set of Austin Powers. No, we got them individually on DVD. But my CEX has got the trilogy box set of Austin Powers, but it's like 30 quid, whereas each one is like £3 to £5 individually if you can find them. So I got Austin Powers 1 and Demolition Man, because Demolition Man is great. I don't know if Demolition Man is a duplicate though. I did message. Don't fanny about with a knife, I don't trust you with that. So yeah, a couple more Blu-rays. Oops.
Hello. Just put your head.
Yeah.
Hello, dog.
Stop flailing. We're too high up for your flailing. I still think that the salt shakers look suspect. Thought you didn't like your bacon this well done?
Yours is the one on left, mine's the pan.
Yeah, but they both came out the same air fryer.
I know, but I just gave you the crispy looking ones.
You having your dinner? And now it's time to watch Reacher episode 6. I think, yeah. Ruby, you're not going to sit there squeaking.
It's not happening again. So you kill him and try to shoot your way.
Ruby is currently under here, but the second that I stand up and move, bet you anything she's going to take my spot because it's warm. Watch. She's trying to dig her way out. What are you doing, Ruby? What are you doing? Why are you over here? Why have you gotten off your perch? So it's a new day. I didn't film anything else after yesterday. So bed hair and stuff. But Reacher is getting very good. I was pretty happy with episode 6 because a lot of the rest of Reacher so far, not much has happened on an episode to episode basis. And whenever you've got a character that's undercover in a thing, you do have to be like, well, at some point something needs to break the cover so that things can start actually happening. And we've only got like a couple of episodes left, so when is that going to happen? And it happened in this episode. It didn't happen in the way that I thought it was going to happen either. And something that I did think was
interesting is the scene where he's fighting off the henchmen off in the woods. He gave one of them a particularly brutal death. And for what? Other than just style. He was after the style points. He wrapped a winch around one guy's throat and turned the winch on so it strangled him to death. And I was like, what did that guy in particular do to deserve that? Like, that's how you'd think he'd take out somebody that has particularly wronged him, like the ratty little fella on the boat at the end that was left to burn. But good episodes. I'm still thinking like the whole Paulie versus Reacher thing is a bit overplayed because of the fact that it doesn't have to be a hand-to-hand fight. Like, Reacher could just shoot him or use a weapon, you know? Granted, it's more than likely going to be a hand-to-hand fight because they've sort of used this entire season as like a warm-up to, oh my god, how are they going to ever do this sort of thing. And, yeah. I'm thinking that the next few episodes have got to be pretty action-packed considering all of the things that need to happen. You got to have the whole Quinn versus Reacher rematch. You've got to have Paulie and Reacher. I mean, we've got, 2 episodes? That could be 1 episode each, maybe. I mean, they might do it in the same episode, but whichever one goes first is probably going to get undershot versus whatever goes second, or vice versa. Like the whole, if you've ever played Far Cry 3, how Vass was only the villain for like the first 2/3 and the final villain, Hoyt, wasn't as big of a deal, sort of thing. And then next up, Last of Us Season 2 has had a trailer, and that show, it's doomed to fail in a good way. Like, it doesn't matter what they do with that show, people are going to be very annoyed. It doesn't matter, because if they match the game 1-to-1, people are going to be annoyed because a lot of people didn't like the game. If they don't match the game 1-to-1, they're going to be annoyed because a lot of people did like the game. And I think it's going to be interesting to watch. I'm just interested to see how many middle-aged moms check right out because Daddy Pedro. Because that's what's going to happen. A lot of people only watch that show because of Pedro. So my theory, and I've said this before, is that they're going to put in a lot more flashbacks. Like, where the flashbacks were a lot more concentrated to specific parts of the game, my theory is that because Daddy Pedro needs to be in every episode no matter what, because the middle-aged moms won't watch it otherwise, they're going to have a lot more flashbacks than were in the game, or they're going to be staggered out, spread out more through the thing. But also, I don't see how... One problem I think they're going to have is that Season 1 made Joel look weak because they skipped over lots of the combat encounters that would have otherwise showed his strength, because game versus TV, you can't translate every combat encounter 1-to-1. They just didn't translate enough as far as I'm concerned, and Joel in that show was a weak man up until the final episode, where then he went a bit ape shit in the hospital, which was out of character for that version of Joel, because that version of Joel had been shown to be able to be choked out by one 20-year-old bloke. Like, nearly every time Joel had a physical altercation in Season 1 of Last of Us, he did not come out on top without help. Whereas the Joel from the show was a monster. The Joel from the game was a monster, and therefore his ability to take on everybody in the hospital at the end made sense. Joel, TV show Joel, his ability to take on everybody in the show didn't make sense because he was not able to do that at any other point through the show. In which case, Season 2 and the way he goes, the things that go down in Season 2 make sense more in the show than the game. I would have been less annoyed. See it this way. I was more annoyed with what happened in the game because of how strong of a character Joel was in the first game. Whereas what happens to Joel makes a lot more sense in the TV show because the Joel of the TV show isn't as strong of a man. It's more likely to have... It is a lot more likely for what happens to Joel to happen to Joel in the TV universe because the TV universe version of Joel is not as strong of a guy. He's not as smart. He's just not as there with it. Anyway. Yeah, TV show thoughts. We seem to be doing these in every episode at the minute. There's a lot of TV stuff going on right now. So, didn't play any Doom Eternal yesterday, so I didn't film any of that. There's not going to be much played today either because I'm going out for a friend's birthday dinner. But if I play, I'll film some. So, see you later.